So this is a example of how I do mulch rings on trees. This is a Douglas fir, which is an evergreen. So this is a mixture of grass and of course its own sticks and needles, the tips of the new growth. This is about, 3 years worth. There was no extra dirt or anything around this previous to that, and you can see there's quite a mound here now. What would probably be best to do now would be actually to take a screen and classify this material, take the rocks out of it, take the larger chunks, and actually put those back into the ring. We've had quite a lot of rain, like Ireland this year so far, and so I haven't been watering this ring, but you really do want to keep them wet to keep them where they're breaking down. And also every time it gets water, it sends a compost tea, if you will, down into the root system. So it's feeding the tree, making it productive, and you're actually not hurting the tree. So most people, including this tree, it happened to this tree, most people want to pile up stuff against the root collar and the crown of any exposed roots going into the ground, and that is the last thing you want to do. You'll compost the roots and you'll kill the tree, or you put it in stress. And as you can see here, to mimic a permaculture, or what we can witness in nature, in effect, is that around, probably 2 to 3 feet, depends on the proximity to the end of the root. But you can see on this root crown here, where it goes down, it's probably only more like 18 inches away. So the goal is to have mineral soil, and you'll get weeds, but they're easy to get out. You just go rake them out every once in a while and put them into the mulch. But essentially, you want mineral soil around the perimeter of the tree where it naturally would be killing or composting, if you will, competition, like weeds, like grasses. So this is a good barrier, and like I said, it's just super feeding this tree. This fir produces so much cone, it's ridiculous. There's little baby firs coming up all around this thing from seed, but it's just been super productive. Now, all these roots were covered at one time with landscaping rocks and farm dirt, and flowers were growing in here, and it really was stressing this old fir to the point that it actually started to grow another top in it. And now, I don't know if I can, because of the sun, I don't know if I can get a good shot of the limb tips, but yeah, not really. Maybe a little bit. These limb tips are super healthy. All the new growth is super healthy. This thing is thriving. Not a lot of dead limbs, some, but a lot of that stuff is actually probably from before. It's no longer trying to grow another top. So absolutely 100% this mulch ring is causing this tree to thrive. So we'll go look at another ring that has not been touched since last year. It's been raked up, but I'll explain why it's raked back out. Okay, so this is a pear. It's one of the only fruit trees we have at this point. It was here when we came on the property almost 30 years ago. This is the good fruit set year. There's going to be lots of fruit. It's what we call the on year. This tree has an on and an off year. So one year it produces very few fruit, but they're generally bigger, especially if I prune. And then on the on year, they produce a lot more fruit. And if we don't actually go and hand cull out a lot of these fruit in these clusters, it'll weigh too much. And this tree is very, very old. I've already had to remove a main leader here. You can see this is reproduction from my pruning, but this poor old girl is hollow. So it's very, very old. all this growth in here needs to be pruned out. I actually kept it to try some air layering, which I did not get to this year. So I will prune this hard again, get rid of a lot of this inner growth, and get more of the teacup style prune on it. Just really trying to rein in, and over time, all these old limbs out here, I've actually been pruning them back, because snow weight, it's old, it's full of woodpecker holes, and has been for 20 years. But this thing is also thriving absolutely from this mulching technique. Now, this ring I've raked up once since the snow has been gone, and you can see that I have not weeded. Down in here, if you can see, the sun's being weird. There we go. Now you see there's quite a few rocks in there that need to be picked out and picked up. You can see the production in the grass specifically. You know, you can see it out here, and then you can see up against the ring. So you know good newts are getting pumped in. Again, this one, this is, man, I don't know if it was even pruned before I started taking care of it. But there certainly wasn't this dirt ring. This is all just grass mulch, where we take lawn clippings for the past few years, and it's made mineral soil already. This is just grass clippings, and there were no exposed root crowns by the way this thing was growing, but it was actually starting to get all the years of shmoo built up around it, and there was a chance that it was going to start to actually decompose around the root collar down here. So what I do is I just keep it raked out, and then this mulch ring going. I will be, I've let everything go to first fruits this year. I want the grass seed. It's very expensive to overseed every year, and there's no reason for me not to let it go. So this will be eventually cut down for fire safety. I don't want all this brown dead stuff around the immediate house area. So anyway, back to the ring. Again, the technique is very similar. Mineral soil naturally around a couple feet of where the trunk is, and then you just keep feeding this ring. Now this got raked back out by turkeys. That's a little turkey poo right there. So it's a never-ending battle between the turkeys and I to keep the mulch rings either raked out or raked up. Now, the reason I don't fence the turkeys out of here is because they actually do use this as a bathroom. They do poop in here. Turkey poop has the best NPK in the world for animal scat. So the cats use these rings for potty. So that's getting injected into the tree. And like I said, this old thing is just thriving. You know, with good pruning, you have to prune them for them to be productive, but also you have to feed them. You have to help them out. And this is the cheapest, best way to get yourself some really good topsoil over time to keep all your trees healthy. These are water batteries. So during times when there isn't a lot of water, I can come over. Now this is raked out, like I said, but you can come over adjacent to the ring, and actually, when it's been dry, you can actually still push your finger into the soil. So this ring is also keeping the soil very loose, not tight, not locked up where water can't get into it. So there is no lose for this. It's a good way to get rid of your grass clippings, to mulch them in this manner. Like I said, if you have chickens or turkeys, they will want to rake this out for you, and then you'll have to rake it back up. And they'll play that game a few times with you because they're trying to get all the worms and critters and stuff in the mulch. So, but never, ever, 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 ever put anything around the tree, specifically not mounding up grass or other mulch against the base of a tree. It doesn't matter the age. If it's this big around or this big around, none of them like it. And you'll end up eventually stressing / killing your tree. The tree won't be healthy the whole time, you can tell. So if you want to try a different technique, this is really, really super easy. Like I said, I haven't been in here to weed for a while. a month or two at least, and the weeds are just barely kind of taking hold in here, and I'll just bust them right up with a rake and throw them right back onto the mulch, and then cover this back up, and we'll have a new session for this year. So I highly recommend everybody do this to all your trees, whether you have critters or not. On the fir yesterday, I actually had a nice flush of Agaricus campestris, which is like the Agaricus bisporus button mushroom that you can get in the store. Very similar. But this morning I came out and something had eaten them all. So something got a good mushroom breakfast. But anyway, everybody take care and plant some trees.